Happy Valentine's month, everybody. I'm the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to share with you some of my favorite Valentine's Day episodes from TV shows or even movies. Not everything is all lovey-dovey. Sometimes Valentine's Days deal with heartache and everything. So, some episodes will be romantic and lovey-dovey, while others will be very sad and heart-wrenching and stuff. But love is love. It doesn't always come with smiles and giggles and glee. So, I'm here today to talk to you about The Haunting Hour, Season 3, Episode 16, Terrible Love. Now, when it comes to The Haunting Hour, I've only talked about the first season and a couple of episodes of the second. Now, I've already done a rundown review of this series. Go watch that. And I've stated that how, towards the second half of the second season, towards its, final season, many seasons later, the show started to lose its focus for me. Episodes weren't really all that scary. They kept trying to teach a life lesson. Sometimes they'll be more humorous or they'll fall flat. This episode is pretty okay. I'll say that. It's not my favorite. It tends to fall a little flat here and there, but for the most part, it does have a creepy ending, which is what I appreciate coming from R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. And so with this episode, I am very thrilled that Emma Grabinski is back in this episode. This is probably her third appearance. She was in the Stare episode. She was in the Creature Feature episode. And I always get happy when I see her because she's very good at acting. But I almost did not recognize her. She dyed her hair brown. Normally, she has blondish, dirty blonde hair. And I also didn't recognize her because she kind of looked different in the face because her eyebrows were kind of blondish in this, which was kind of weird because I don't think I've ever seen them that shade of blonde before. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're darker. But it reminded me of Chris Hemsworth when he played Thor for the first time in the movie and they bleached his eyebrows. Also in this episode is David DeLucy, the dude who played Jerry in Wizards of Waverly Place, the dad. There's also a guy in here named Nick. I forget his last name, but he was in the Mascot episode. So I like when they recycle actors and actresses and stuff. This episode has to do with your typical love potion type episode where it's the kind of the outcast, dorky, nerdy person, wanting to fall in love with the good looking person, the cool person, So it's one of those type of episodes. We've seen this so many times before. I already talked about it in the Buffy episode. However, this episode is just kind of flat at times. It has weird music. It's very bright. It's not as scary as I would have liked it to be. Even when it gets to those scary moments, they don't really feel scary, more comedic almost. I just feel like this episode is off. It was just off in certain areas. The acting's good, except for the love interest. His acting could have been better. He comes off comedic at times. And so, for the most part, I just wasn't really feeling it. But basically, Emma plays a girl named Maggie. And Maggie is she's crushing on a dude named Brandon in her science class. Brandon is the class clown. All the girls want him, stuff like that. But she feels like she'll never be able to get him because she feels like she's not good enough because she's not cool like the other people and stuff. And so one day when she's moping around, she sees she has a huge pimple near her eyebrow and everything. Oh, God, I remember those days in high school. Every stinking week, I had a pimple. When one goes away, boom, here comes another. I think I went 1 week with no pimples, and I was so happy. But God, I hated pimples so much. I didn't have no acne, but I had pimples. Thank God when I got 18, my pimples went away. Every once in a while, they would come back on once a blue moon. And I remember when two of them came, it was the worst time ever. So I used to have this one class in college, and I got so tired of being in there because I was like, whatever, I could easily pass that class. I would leave every day, go to the classroom next door, and hang out with some random classmate over there. I used to hang out with these two women and stuff. And the way we used to sit in the chairs and at the table, the big giant, it was a giant pimple too, was in her direction, her eye. I'm like, oh God, don't look at it. Cause you feel like people are looking at it. And then so one time, this other time, there was this one online friend I had who lived probably an hour from me in a different city. And so we were finally gonna meet after all these years of talking. And wouldn't you know it, I had the biggest stinking pimple. You don't want a giant pimple meeting somebody for the first time and this person is attractive. I'm just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So I feel her pain, you know what I'm saying? I remember I had this one friend in high school. He had really bad acne. It was all over his face. I mean, it was really bad. And so I assumed since he'll be older, because I haven't seen him in years, but then I saw him at the grocery store a couple of months ago, and his face is still broken out with acne. I'm like, dude, you're like my age. I feel bad for that dude, because his face is blown up with acne and stuff. I don't know why is that? Why when you go into mature state and adulthood and puberty, why do you get pimples? I don't understand. What is the purpose of it? I don't understand. I really don't. And so when she's in the hall, she meets a man, and this man says his name is Cupid. And so he's jokey, he's friendly, he's being smooth and everything. He's all I want to help you out. And so he has this weird dart thing that has red liquid in it. He's all like, show me who you want, and I'll just throw it at them, and boom, instant love. She doesn't want to do it at first because, he's all like, it'll be fine. All the chemicals in here are safe. So, of course, she picks Brandon. And so, boom, he gets hit with the dart. She pushes the other girls out the way, he could be the first, or she could be the first person that he sees. And of course, he falls in love with her. He's all smiley. He's all just wanting to be with her. He gives her gifts. She finally gets what she wants, but there has to be a catch, right? And so, it starts to wear off. And so he goes to recite his Romeo and Juliet lines with this other girl that's her competition. So she ain't having it. So she goes back into the hall and she is looking for Cupid. She's all like, look, man, I need some more juice. He's all like, no way, man. I give him some more, things ain't gonna be too copacetic. You know what I'm saying? But she starts wanting some more of it. And he starts to give her the demon voice and everything. But he's all like, watch who you talking to. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? But then I'm like, whoa, Cupid. It's going to get dark. I'm getting happy because for now it's been kind of bland. You know what I'm saying? With the music and everything. And me still trying to remember what she looks like with dark eyebrows and stuff. And so he's all like, but I'm bound by the rules to do what you say. So he hits that dude with another dart. And now he's hit with 2 love potions. And of course, it's amped up by 100. And of course, love is the strongest thing there is. And when there's too much of it, it can get pretty deadly and stuff. Jealousy and anger and bitterness and stuff like that. So he gives her a gift. It's like a heart box. I'm like, oh, cool. He got her some chocolates, right? Boy, I was not expecting this. Kudos to the writers. He got her a huge tarantula. She screams. And he's all like, why get you a fake stuffed animal when I can get you the real thing? So he's in trouble and has to leave. And the thing crawls on her shoulder and she screams. So, of course, it bit her and stuff. And he's all like, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. What happened to your neck? And she's all like, well, what do you think? Your real stuffed animal bit me and stuff. And so, like, she realizes something. He's too affectionate and he's always around her and won't give her space. Now, while all this is going on between him and her, somebody is spying on them. It's this guy named Stuart. He won't say nothing. He just spies in a very creepy manner. And so, like, she tells him that, like, look, man, the only reason why you love me is because I had Cupid shoot you with like a dart and everything you feeling is fake. So he's getting upset. And I mean upset. And he's all like, are you breaking up with me? And she's like, well, yeah. She's like, this is just too much. So, of course, you can tell what's probably going to happen. He gets enraged. Nobody's in the hall, and he chases her down. And when he chases her down, he has this weird, awkward look on his face. That's why I'm saying his acting could have been better, because I'm not believing it. It comes off too comedic than it is scary. This is supposed to be a very scary moment. She's in a hallway by herself. She's running. Nobody can save her. Cupid's the only person that's there. And, of course, she pissed Cupid off. And it doesn't feel scary because of the dude's acting. So then she tells Cupid, like, please just take it back. I want to be alone. I want to be alone. He's like, all right, fine. Now, this is the part where the writing gets very odd and everything. He waves his hand in front of the dude's face and the spell is worn off. We see a scene of her, but then we hear tumbling down the stairs. It's Brandon. He fell down the stairs somehow. But how did he fall down the stairs? And so she asked, like, what happened? He's all like, oh, I did what you said. I took the spell off so you can be alone and everything. But they don't explain how he fell down the stairs. I feel like there's a part of this episode that is missing that they don't want to explain and everything. And so, like, the next day in class, Brandon's not there. So I'm like, is Brandon dead? Like, where is he? Because people do die on the show, or at least seemingly die and stuff, unlike Goosebumps. And so, like, she asked to, like, use, like, the restroom or something like that. And so when she's in the hallway, all of a sudden, Stuart comes up. And he's all like, hi, Maggie. And she's like, hey, Stuart. He's like, my name, my name and everything. And because it's the same thing she did with Brandon. She's all like, dude, we've had, like, the same class since, like, we was little. And Stuart's all like, we've been in the same classes since we've been little. I'm all like, uh-oh, something's starting to sound familiar. And he has pimples on his face. And he was stalking her. I'm like, hold up. Was he the one who pushed Brandon? Because it's never been, like, shown who pushed Brandon and stuff. And so then they started talking a little bit more. And then he's all like, well, all this is going to change. Because she said that she doesn't want to be alone. He's like, you're not going to be alone no more. All that's going to change. Because she was happy that he talked to her because she thought she was like invisible or something. She turns around. Here comes Cupid with a big old smile on his face with a dart in his hand. She's like, ah, crap. She gets hit with the dart. And then all of a sudden, Stuart's the only person she can see. That is creepy right there. Like, the ending made up for, like, the middle part of, like, this episode. Boy, like she got her, like, come-uppings and stuff for, like, putting a spell on the other dude. So sadly, this is not my favorite episode, which is why I don't review episodes from season halfway to 2 all the way towards the end of 4 or 5 or whatever it was. Because I just wasn't feeling it no more. And I was disappointed when I was no longer feeling these episodes. Now, wasn't that romantic? Or depressing, depending on what kind of video I just talked about. Okay, well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And bye.